Good morning. We are happy to interview a very interesting, a multifaceted personality, a man of many parts. That is Yogi Kochhar. Let me give a brief introduction to you, Yogi. Your very impressive credentials. He's a sociology and economics postgrad of Punjab and University of Florida. After that, he began his career as a tea planter in Northeast India, working for Tata Tea, where he worked for from 1985 to 1994. After that, he went to the real estate business and worked for that real estate giant company, DLF, from 1994 to 96. After that, he switched tracks again and worked with SR Telecom, another major telecom company. After that, obviously you're not very happy being in one job for long. Then between 2000 and 2002, he was hired to set up a e-commerce platform for AKSVM, a UK-based company. After that, again, he went solo to promote his own venture based in Dubai, named Barter Games, where, as he says himself, he lost all his money. Then returning to India in 2004, he once again rejoined the Tatas, working with Tata Teleservices from 2004 to 2009, and then with Microsoft India, 2009 to 14 as a strategic planner. Wow, that's quite an impressive. Well, we are not done yet. After that, in 2014, he quit the corporate life and has transformed into a happiness maven and happiness guru and AI, that's artificial enthusiast. His forthcoming book on AI, titled The Road Ahead 2.0, co-authored with Professor T.G Sitharam, chairman of the All India Council of Technical Education, which oversees all technical and engineering colleges in India. Obviously, a very distinguished co-author, is scheduled for publication next month. That's in February. So welcome, Yogi. Very kind of you to spare the time to talk with us and perhaps explain to us this new phenomenon called artificial intelligence, which is your forte, as seen by your book, no doubt, and explain to us this phenomenon called artificial intelligence, which is scaring everybody and well, scaring a lot of people, but also enthusing a lot of people. So let's start with your book. The Road Ahead 2.0 is scheduled for release in a few days. What is the main subject matter or message of your book?
Okay. Thank you very much, Dilip and Russia, for having me on your show. We are on the, how should you put it? Now, this is an inflection point in the history of mankind, okay, clearly. To give you an analogy for those that don't understand AI at all, it's like saying that I'd go to someone today and I'd say, hey, here is a figure which is 1297534. Please divide it by 12 on a piece of paper, right? And whoever is the person that I have to give it to you to, and that person could be the most brilliant person in a classroom or in a hall, his mind would flip and he would short circuit and he'd say, don't give me a piece of paper and a pen, get me a calculator, right? That's what you'd say, right?
Yes.
So in other words, what's happening with AI is exactly that. So any single thing that you think you can do can be done better by AI. Okay. So you can name a field, and I can give you an example, for instance. So what we try to do in the book is to pick on about 75 different sectors of the economy, right? These are 75 different sectors that go ahead and impact every single walk of life in the world today. So what are we talking about? We're talking about anything and everything from hotels to hospitality to how it is that the finance will work, how it is that the governments will end up working, what's going to happen to the lifestyle of the people, whether it is intimacy or interior design or real estate or weddings, what's happening to the social media and journalism, uh, starting from IPR, which is a huge challenge in this country, which we'll speak about in a bit from now, to
So
deep
one
fakes.
second, one second. So is your book essentially saying that whatever your vocation, AI will help you to do it better?
uh, to err on the side of caution is one way to look at things. What I'm saying is that, unless you pull your socks up, you've lost it. Okay, because all the jobs that we are doing today will actually be done by AI. So that will lead to a massive
You
amount
mean,
of,
one second, you mean our entire jobs will be done by AI?
by about 80 to 85% of our jobs will shift to AI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm being cautious, and I'm being very cautious when I say 80 to 85%. Anything, allow me to tell you this, Dilip. See, Einstein's IQ was rated at about 160. ChatGPT's IQ was recently tested by American Scientific, and American Scientific came up with a conclusion that ChatGPT's IQ is 155. For plain Joes and Janes like you and me and Arshia, etc., our IQ would probably be tottering between 60 to about 80, we're not 100, right? And I like to think of myself as an ignoramus, and that's how I introduce myself. So I think if I'm about 60 and there's an IQ of about 155, which is already there, how's that? How am I going to be able to help anybody or anything with that sort of an IQ? Okay, there are transport factories. There are mechanical plants that have come up in China where they're rolling out about 40 cars an hour, not even a single man on the shop floor, right?
My
That's
goodness. This is happening because of AI.
Yes, yes, yes. So it's all happening because of AI. Now AI weaves itself through civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electronical engineering, electronics, you name it, space engineering, every single thing. AI will walk in there, unless you're working with AI. And if you're only working with a machine, that's like working with a cycle when there's a Ferrari standing outside. Well, that my message of the book is this: that we need to get out of this hamster story where we're all stuck. Unfortunately, and I'd have to say this with a lot of caution again, is this: that our educationists, the so-called teachers that we've got, they've continued to do the same thing year and year and year and year and year and year, over and over again. You see, so
Okay.
they become like hamster rats. Correct? They don't know any better. You try and take this change story to them, they don't even want to listen to it. But this is exactly where it starts. Their students and their children will stop coming to the classrooms completely. I was on a long call with some very eminent educationists in the US a bunch of months ago, and I don't want to name the person, but he said there is a likelihood that in the next 4 years time, Harvard will probably emerge as a museum of education.
If that's the message of your book,
Yeah.
you're essentially saying that all of us are going to become redundant in our professions and vocations, and that
So,
AI is going to take that over. That sounds a bit alarmist and improbable.
Dilip, every single thing that was impossible has already happened in this world. And let's start with you. You were impossible till you happened to the world, right? Your parent didn't know Dilip was going to get born. My parent didn't know I was going to get born, and the impossible happened. The chair, the table, the computer, the glasses, the reading glasses you wear, the shirts, the trousers, etc. Every single thing that you wear, the aeroplanes, every single thing was once considered impossible, and then it happened. So every single thing that is impossible will happen, and this is staring us
Because
in the
of
face
AI.
because
Because
of
of AI.
AI. Absolutely, absolutely. So while in the book, my message is pretty guarded, and I'm still being very tongue in cheek to say that, hey, we should be careful. But allow me to warn anybody and everybody that are listening to this interview that AI is going to be the biggest disruptor of all time. It's a tectonic shift. It's going to turn humans into bionic individuals. Love is not going to find a place in this new thing. There is so it has both. You see, the point is that it has both. It has emotions, right, in that sense. So it has sensory feelings, it's developed sensory feelings, and then it has the rationality. right? So it is sentient and it is sapient. It is both sentient and it is sapient. Sentient meaning it has feelings. Sapient meaning it's intelligent.
Okay. I think, okay, you've given us a message of your book. Now, tell us what AI, what wonders it can perform, you've told us. Or what are the limits of its capabilities, what it can't do?
So, Dilip, there is nothing that it cannot do. See, imagination has a limitation. You and I can only imagine what we've either seen in our dreams or read in a book. So if
Okay.
people can say you can do unimaginable things, I'm sorry, you can't do unimaginable things. You can only do imaginable things. You can see a bird flying and you can create an aeroplane. Yeah, because that's imagination. But how does that imagination come into human beings? So what we know is very, 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 very little as compared to what AI already knows, because AI at this point in time, as you and I are speaking, is working on 300 million people punching their keys and data sets into it, which is all going into a boiling cauldron. And that boiling cauldron is all the time creating new recipes, new dishes, new stuff. So AI is going to develop its own AI, which is called the AGI. That's what we are talking about. So it's not human beings that will come to develop AI. It'll be AI developing itself, trying to understand the problem.
Let me interrupt you for a minute. See, AI by definition is artificial intelligence.
Yeah,
Now, according to my way of thinking, how can something that's artificial,
yeah.
so powerful, that is more powerful than natural?
That's exactly what's happening to AI. AI at this point in time has collected all the humanly possible data, and it's a sad story. We continue to talk about security. That's a, for want of a better word and for want of a slightly more sober word. I can only go as sober as this on finding a word, but it is bullshit to say that we've got security in this country at all. We got no security today. You apply to LinkedIn and you want to get your profile verified, they say, please give us access to your Aadhaar card details, right? So all your data is today sitting in America, right? And those are the guys that are working with those kind of impulses. So they're training data to speak to each other. Alan Turing started this entire journey on, he's called the father of AI, and he started the journey way back in the 1930s when he started the Turing phenomena, and he started realizing that, hey, there is a possibility that we can speak to each other. Machines can develop their own sentience. You understand? So that's where the whole journey started. So it's a different ball game altogether. It's unfortunate, very, very unfortunate. And I'd like to, at the cost of sounding pedantic, would like to again say, and all your educational leaders need to understand this, that whatever they're teaching in their schools today is a load of bull, because none of that story is going to stick neither in the minds nor in the society.
So, in fact, you're saying that what teachers are teaching today, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
is all going to become irrelevant in a very short time.
It is unfortunate that the teachers are only teaching what they know themselves. They need to
Yes.
upskill themselves, they need to upgrade themselves, they need to
So
understand
that was
what's
my
happening.
next question. So that's my next question to you. How can AI revolutionize education and the dispensation of education?
So there are several ways. One, the first and the foremost, the fundamental of any education, Dilip, is to be able to serve the society, serve the business, and in a way earn my livelihood. Right? You'd agree with me, right? Any learning that is today rote is nothing. It's nothing. It's not even a piece of paper. So I'm saying that any learning which is not applied learning is useless, right? So what people need to do is to start setting up AI labs in the schools already. There is a stellar example of the Mayo College that has gone ahead and done the finest experiment of its kind, right?
Hmm.
Mayo College has gone ahead and set up an AI lab where grade 5 and grade 6 students are today developing apps and stuff for the society. This is a pothole detection system that I've developed. And that small kid of, let's say, 13 years of age today has the confidence to go and speak to the municipal commissioner, right? So developing technology today like Lego toys. People need to understand that technology is not something which is very difficult to understand. So what we've tried to do in the book, Dilip, is to de-jargonize the entire message of what is technology, what is artificial intelligence. For anybody that reads the book will say, wow, this is something I can do, right? I took it across to a beauty salon and she said, my God, I want to do this, right? I took it to a fashion designer. He said, my God, I want to do this. I didn't know we could do this, right? So it's like building Lego toys. In the good old days, you had to be taught C++. You
So
had
are you saying that artificial intelligence is going to make it possible to apply all knowledge, to apply? That's the key word.
right, right. Now, Dilip, and on that, I have to tell you this. Okay, hold yourself together. India, 1.5 billion people. For 2022, the total number of patents applied for in this country, as per the data available, for
Okay.
a country of 1.5 billion people, unless we have the ability to think, we will not be able to outsmart AI. AI will outsmart us because it'll make us think. It'll tell us what to wear, what to drink, where to go, what to watch, how to sleep, how not to sleep, what to eat, what not to eat, who to fight with, who not to fight with, which political side am I on, am I right, am I left, who am I? We are going to become bozos in the hands of AI. And I'm saying this with a complete sense of authority, having written a book which is run into some 723 pages in 2 volumes, and we're getting some rave reviews for it, including from the principal scientific advisor of the government of India and so on. We've tried to de-jargonize AI.
Let me stop you there. Are you saying that we are going to become the robots if AI is going to take control of our lives? All we have to do is we try to switch off AI, right?
You can't switch off AI anymore.
Right.
I'll tell you
Because
why.
AI is artificial intelligence and it goes, we have programmed it by human beings.
Yes.
So obviously there's a program. So I can switch off the program.
You switch off your program, you switch off your phone. Can you live without your phone today? If there's a disruption in the flight, you need to be informed. If there is a traffic jam, you need to be informed. If there are riots happening, you need to be informed. There's a fire somewhere, you need to be informed. You need to be informed, right? And that is where the trouble has started happening in this country, is this, that we did not realize that we became hapless victims of these devices. The algorithm on which technology is released in America is not the same algorithm on which Facebook is released in India. In India, we are fed on trash. We are fed on some poor political discourses, some religious discourses, some fights happening, some disputes occurring, some random shit. We are sort of taught that. So that comes into our mind, and that's who we become, right? That's happening in India. In America, it is scientific temper, development of scientific temper that is happening there. Is why those people are able to today, with a population which is one fourth the size of India, have an economy which is 8 times the size of India, right? Now let's come to the jobs, and I know you want to ask me a question, but there's a very important point I want to.
No, 1 second. When you talked about America, is the same thing happening in China, perhaps on a lesser scale?
Oh, absolutely, on a much bigger scale than even America, because China understood that data is key. Data is key. Data is key. So they blocked America completely. So they are developing their own large language model. They're developing their own sensory language model. They're developing all the model themselves. The day they pull the curtain down, the iron curtain down, they'd be in a much better position to take over everything, right? So I think that's what we have to worry about now. Let's talk about the job scenario. Unfortunately, we're preparing our children and students for jobs. There are
Yes.
no jobs. There are no jobs, and I'll give you the statistics here. Take them. So India is about a $3 trillion economy, a $4 trillion economy, growing at about, let's say, 7% hypothetically, which is not the
Yes.
case, because if adjusted for inflation, we are only growing at about 2%. If there's an inflation of 6% and 7% is the growth,
No,
then
no, no, no. No, no, no. We are growing at 6.2% adjusted for inflation.
okay, but I'll take your
Okay.
word for it. Okay, so 6%. Even if it grows at about 6% annually, this $3 trillion is next year likely to add about 180 billion dollars to the economy. Yes or no? 3%
Yes.
of 6% of 3 trillion is 180 billion. This 180 billion, 90% of it is likely to go into cement, steel, concrete, manufacturing, hotels, airports, highways. 10%
Yes.
of this will probably be set aside for HR, right? Human resource,
Ah,
right?
yes.
Now, that 10% of this 180 billion is about 18 billion. Dilip, even if it were 20 billion, you have about 40 million students graduating every year on year in this country. With those many
Yes.
students graduating, if every student were to get a job, it would be worth $500. You understand? $500, which is less than what a rickshawala earns. Why did he? Why did
Per
he?
year. $500 per year.
Right? And you'll get there. 20 billion by about 40 million is about $500 per year. So that's the kind of stuff. We don't have enough steam because we don't innovate. We don't create products. There's money in the product. There's no money in a cyber coolie, right? I go ahead and I do offshore jobbing services or whatever, the big boys, that's how they became. And one's grateful to people like Wipro and Infosys, etc., that have gone ahead and created these wonderful opportunities for our youngsters. But we have not introduced any research and development in our initiatives. We've not created a product. We've created cyber coolies that go there, that get exhausted, and then end of the day they're seen riding taxi. Why did you come here, sir? I was not liking what I was doing. I was going berserk with what I was doing. Because a call center job,
In short, you're saying we are not creating new knowledge.
we are not in creating new knowledge is one part of the story. The other part of the story, the most important and the critical part of the story, is this: that we have to create products. Unless we create products in the country, there is no
What
value in services.
products? I mean, we are producing steel, cement, they're all products.
Wrong, wrong, wrong. Microsoft is a product. Google is a product. Facebook is a product. All these are
No, they're
products.
companies. They're companies.
No, they are all products. They're all product company. These are products.
So,
They're companies. That's what we got to understand. We got to make a differentiation. Well, for that matter, Jindal Steel is a company. Steel is the
yes.
product. Similarly, Google is a company, but what Google produces is the product. Microsoft is a company. OpenAI is its product. The recent documents have now been made public, where Sam Altman and Satya Nadella agreed that, for instance, the day they will let go of the 49% equity that they hold in OpenAI is the day that they will get $50 billion back from AI into their kitty. It's all about money, honey. What are we talking
So
about?
are you saying, if I understand you correctly, they're creating artificial intelligence? That's what you're saying.
That's right. And all these are
That's their
products.
product. That's
Yes,
their product.
that's right.
Whereas we are producing material products.
We are producing material products that have no patents. A product is a product that can have a patent. Steel cannot be patented. You create something out of steel, you create a satellite out of steel, that can be patented now. You know what I mean? You
It's
can't
an
patent that.
intermediate.
you
It's
you
an
can't.
intermediate.
Yeah, it's an intermediary. That's an intermediate. That's not a product. A product is something that can be patented. These
Yeah.
trillion-dollar valuations of these companies are all based on their strong patents. I have personally worked for Microsoft. It's a billion-dollar company in India, or probably more. Around the time that I was with them some 10 years ago, 100 million out of their revenue used to only come to us from legalization. We used to speak to the KPMGs of the world, and we used to say, well, we've got the licenses of the computers that have been shipped to this location, because HP used to share those details with us, and Lenovo would share those details with us, and we would say, now this is on the network. If it is on the network, how could they be working without MS Office? So therefore, please go and rate them. And the people would go there and rate them, and they'd say, sir, please take money from us. $100 million used to come to us for doing nothing. We used to make money sleeping
So
in a
are you
sleep.
saying, in short, from what I understand, I mean, you're giving us a lot of knowledge which I'm not able to absorb totally. So AI can replicate the brain of a well-informed human being, perhaps a professor, and keep on growing ad infinitum. Is that correct?
Dilip, wrong. AI cannot replicate the brain of a professor. AI has gone 10x more than the brain of a professor already. What a professor thinks he knows, AI knows 10x of that already. But a professor has a captive audience in their students, or a teacher has a captive audience in a classroom. And therefore, the teacher think, well, they are the magicians in the classroom. All that is finished. There's no relevance to that. Dilip, is the point I'm trying to make.
Oh, okay. So now I think you said earlier, for example, artificial intelligence, which translates into automation and robots, have
Correct.
started replacing shop floor workers around the world. That's what you were saying, right?
Yes, 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 yes. Even
So,
software developers are not required. Today, software gets developed by AI. You speak to Chat GPT and you tell them that you want a software to go ahead and do this process. It'll give you a software code right there and then. Just insert it and you're done. So the analogy that I gave you earlier of a calculator and a paper, which
yeah.
is was this, that you could do your sums on extensive large sums on paper, etc. When the calculator came, you gave up on that. You're an intelligent gentleman, I'm intelligent, but hey Dilip, if you were to say, Yogi, I'm taking away your calculator, will you please do it on paper? Talking about how you can switch off, you switch off a calculator? No, you can't, right? Because my mind stops working. I don't even know how to divide. Honestly.
Correct. So then you're painting a very alarming picture of mass unemployment worldwide.
I'm painting a very alarming picture of not teaching the right stuff to the children at this point in time.
So what
Education
is
needs,
the right stuff?
the right stuff is this, that children need to be given applied learning. They do not need to be given rote learning. ABCD is not going to take the boy to the village fair anymore. Okay? Just because you and I can speak and we could impress a girl or two in the classroom is not going to work anymore.
Okay. Then to what extent, on the same lines, is the fear of AI-driven robots replacing teachers in schools and universities
In
justified?
England, it has already started happening, Dilip. Why do we need AI robots? So see, students are like animals from the animal kingdom, from the that that Simba film that we saw, right? So there's a
Hmm.
monkey there. There's a monkey there. There's a parrot there. There's an elephant there. We all come with different. We are all programmed differently. When you come into a classroom and there's a teacher teaching on the board, he considers everybody like a cookie cutter, and he will say, no, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, right? So now
Yes.
it's like trying to tell a fish to how to climb a tree. Can a fish ever climb a tree? No, it can't, right? So that's why. But does that mean that just because the fish couldn't climb a tree, the fish is bad? No. What AI does is AI personalizes the learning. So, which means every student can now go ahead and become a much better version of himself or herself by embracing AI, rather than by coming to the classroom and sitting and listening to the teacher. Right? Not happening.
So this is a dystopian future, unless, as you say, education is totally turned on its head.
Yes.
And
Well, I'm saying education hasn't just turned on its head. It's a tectonic shift, and I'm saying this with all
needs
the
to be turned.
responsibility.
No, in India, it needs to be turned on its head urgently. That's what you're saying.
It needed to be turned on its head about an year ago, 2 years, 3 years ago. We are already late in the game. Most of
Okay.
the students that we are teaching today will not find themselves job, and I'm saying this with a huge sense, in terms of having researched deeply into this book and having visited over 100 universities and colleges, etc. Like saying, I taught you C++, you don't know what C++, it's a programming language, right?
Yes.
I'm still teaching you C++, how to do programming. But now the whole story is moved to something called Python. Python says, you don't need to do programming, boss. I'll come in and do it for you. Do you still want to learn how to do C++?
No, obviously not. Yes.
So that's exactly what's happening in the schools and the colleges. The schools and the colleges, including some of the old, but I must admire Mayo College, stands up like a beacon in this entire story, where they've gone ahead and created an AI lab which is doing some phenomenal work. Phenomenal work. It's gone ahead and turned the mindset of the students towards real life problems, rather than understanding. See, what is education? Education is, I learn an alphabet. From an alphabet, I create a word. From a word, I create a sentence. From a sentence, then I think I create a story. Today, I'm giving you an opportunity to download a story. Why do you want to create a story? Hey,
And then, correct me if I'm wrong, then take the moral of the story and apply it to
yeah.
solve problems. Am I
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, absolutely. I put all the data into the AI. I'll say, well, here is the data. Tell me what are the problems. I don't even need to think of the problems. It'll give me the problems, and then it'll say, "Can I make a solution for you?" You say, "Make a solution." You make a solution. Well, somebody's got to do that solution. So you do the solutioning end of that story and take the solution. So, like I'm saying, these grade 6, grade 7 kids in Mayo College, Ajmer, they go ahead and do this great work. They'll get the confidence to speak to the DC. Rest of the boys and girls will be standing with their heads bowed and their namaskar. Sir, give me the award. You come to my annual function. No, I'm a great guy. I went there and developed a pothole detection system. I'm in grade
Right.
6. I
So
don't
are
need to.
you saying, if I can I interpret you correctly? please correct me if I'm wrong. Are you saying that from a young age, children, Mayo College is a school, it's not a university.
Yeah.
From a young age, children should be taught problem-solving skills.
Applied skills. That's right. Problem solving is not divide 42 by 2. That is not a problem. Problem is
Okay.
applied skill. What is this 42? Where is this number coming from? Oh, okay. There are 42 pairs of shoes, and between me and my
Okay,
brother
let
and
me
you.
amend that. They should be taught skills to solve everyday problems of
Absolutely.
society. Yes,
Absolutely. They don't need to be taught the alphabet anymore.
painted a somewhat grim picture about the kind of revolution we need in Indian education.
Yeah.
But now you've also, at the same time, transformed from an AI evangelist into a happiness guru,
Yes.
preaching the message of how individuals should attain
So,
happiness.
right.
So, what is your prescription?
So, Dilip, in this technological world, imagine that we are all caught in a web, okay? And you and I don't have the ability to do anything more than what the web wants you and me to do. Imagine a scenario like that. In that kind of a scenario, your brain is actually going to go into a state of stupor, into a state of stupor, where you and I will lose cognizance of whatever it is that is happening around us, right? Therefore, we've gone ahead and created a technological product that goes ahead and creates guardrails in the minds of the people, guardrails so that people don't flip over.
Outrage.
Our
Okay.
minds get stolen out of our heads. How? For instance, you go to Google, you click a link, that link takes you to another link takes you to another link, that takes you to yet another link, and you've suddenly got some 20 links open, right? Your mind
Yes.
has been taken out of your body. Mind gets taken out of our bodies, right? And that is the essence of neuroplasticity. So the product that we've developed works on the neuroplastic behavior of a human being in terms of creating guardrails in the minds of the learners and the users.
So, how to retain our focus,
Absolutely, absolutely. How
to
to
prevent our minds from endlessly being stolen by reels and messages and stuff you get, entertainment that you get on your cell.
schools don't even admit it, but I'll tell you how their EQ and IQ is demolished, and I'll just take a minute. I've got to go. IQ is all about pattern recognition.
Yes.
Correct. Now, what is IQ is all about pattern recognition. What are the reels we are watching? No pattern between them. Brains can be trained, right? Brains can be trained. Now, the brains have gotten trained to go ahead and not look for any method in that madness. Brain says, show me something new. Because I am now in that circuit, right? I don't care what you're trying to show me, but show me something new. Show me something new. Show me. So now your brain is the neural synapses that are occurring in the brain are every 3 seconds. Schools will say, we don't allow children to get phones to the school. That's a crazy, stupid thing to say. Don't allow students to bring phones to the school. But the moment the kid goes back home, he's constantly flipping images. IQ is gone. No pattern recognition. Emojis are the one that go ahead and destroy your emotions because they go ahead and replace emotions. Emotions are the one that go ahead and give sustenance to your endocrine system. Your endocrine system, your serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, endorphin, these get created, hey, because you have emotions, you have love, you have longing, you have desires. Those have been replaced by emoticons. So we've gone
No,
absolutely.
no, Yogi, one second. You stated the problem. What's the solution?
The solution is the one that we've created, Dilip. I'd like to say this without having to beat my chest about the whole story. We've created a solution that goes ahead and creates guardrails in the minds of the people that goes in and channelizes their energies into the 12 focus areas of life, which are the very basic, the lowest common denominator areas of life, shall I say. And then the children start training on that. Once they start training on that, they become a large learning model by themselves. They become an LLM, and they become artificially intelligent to be able to overcome
When
the
you
AI.
say we, who is this we? Is that your website or what is it?
No, we means I and my team. We've gone ahead and created that, for
Yes.
which we've been
So how
awarded in
do
the.
I access that? What you've created, how do I access it?
Dilip, you'd have to speak to us. My email is yogi at the rate yol.one. You and
Okay.
your readers can reach out to me, and we can set up a conversation.
You're going to, but you can't converse with 6 billion people, can you?
Well, they can write a mail to me and let me understand what it is, what is the response coming from there, basis which I work on artificial intelligence. I can speak to 6 billion people, I can assure you.
You can speak to 6 billion
I
people.
can. So can you.
at one time.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
So, last question before you go. Isn't there a contradiction between propagating the coming wonders of AI and attaining happiness in the new AI era?
So these are two different stories. One has to understand. Okay, AI AI is something that goes in and pulls your mind out of your body and takes you for a walk in the park, let's say. Okay, that's what is AI. I'm just giving a quote just to illustrate the example. But hey, if you could enable your mind to remain where it is and not allow it to be hijacked by AI, you'd still be able to retain your individuality and your personality, right? But if your mind went out of your system, then there is nothing you can do about it, right?
If your mind is stolen.
If your mind is stolen, which is what is happening in the current scenario. That's why
Mm.
what the product that we've created at our Happiness Foundation is the product that goes ahead and builds guardrails in the minds of the students, the learners, etc., that they can apply, so that they can apply those. Every single thing can be applied in reference to that aspect, right? How
So
do you
your mind
apply?
is not stolen.
Yeah, not only is your mind not stolen, it becomes cognitively far more rational. How? Because if I were to say, Dilip, think of a problem, you're not going to tell me what's happening in the stars. You're going to think of a problem that affects your life. Hey,
Yes.
a
You
problem is something that,
focus on it.
yeah. So you're not going to tell me what's happening in an aircraft that's happening on Chhatrapati Shivaji Airport. That's got nothing to do with you. A problem is something that impacts your life. Who are you in the first place? I'm not myself. I'm not myself because my mind is not with me. My mind's been stolen out of me. My
Mm.
mind is being told, hey, watch Rakhi Sawant. She's good. Hey. So my mind tells me, watch a film which is Salman Khan, build muscles, go find yourself a girlfriend, spend money on stuff, right? That's what it tells me. And we only compensate all that for the lack of to compensate for the lack of what we actually need is why we go ahead and buy stuff. I personally think.
That's retail therapy, you mean. It's a kind of a,
Yeah, it's a kind of a retail therapy. Yeah,
yeah.
but we compensate the lack of something in a. Why is it that you and I buy a shirt that we've not used in the last 3 months?
Why?
Because the dopamine rush comes up and the dopamine says, well, buy something, buy something, buy. So I buy something, I put it there, I keep admiring it, taking a look at it, maybe wear it once or twice, forget about it. And then the dopamine comes up again. It's all chemicals. You see, we're all chemicals, we're all chemical beings. And that is what AI has tried to understand, that it is all about going ahead and creating these chemical imbalances in the mind by showing you something, by making you feel something, touch something, hear something, see something, taste something, that I will alter your so DNA cannot be changed, right? But gene mutation happens, correct?
So to sum up our conversation, AI is a force for the good, in your opinion,
AI
which
is a force for the good, but I doubt if it is going to be used for the good by a lot of people, especially by companies that are going to use it for profit, because profit is all about creating biases in your mind. Why? I'll create a bias in your mind between buying this apple or that apple because I'll show you an apple. So I will only show you apple that I want you to buy. You understand? So
yeah.
when AI gets used for profit is when AI becomes a lethal force. It's like saying E is equal to mc square is brilliant because it created energy, but the same E is equal to mc square was the formula that was used in the creation of the atomic bomb. So all the good in the world was done away on one fine morning in America, in Japan, when an atomic bomb was dropped, and that to sort of recover back from that, it took them ages. You understand? That's
So
what AI
your
can do.
last, so am I, correct me if I'm wrong. Your last message is AI is a force for good, but use it intelligently in your education system, in your business, in your politics, in your economics. Am I right?
Correct. So, just last word, Dilip, a question that you should have asked, and probably we skipped it also because I'm in a hurry. Is this, can AI be regulated? AI cannot be regulated. AI
Cannot be.
cannot be regulated. Why? Because, Dilip, the role of any policy is to codify an existing practice. Yes or no? Correct?
Yes,
Role of policy is to codify a practice. That means there have to be a practice for you to codify it. This
correct.
practice is not geographically bound. I could be sitting in Timbuktu and creating a warhead that I want to release in China tomorrow. So which jurisdiction will come into play?
Okay.
You understand? So how will you regulate me?
So what are you saying? If it can't be regulated,
It
then
cannot be
it's
regulated.
going to create anarchy then.
That's the point I'm trying to make with anybody and everybody, including some of the biggest brains that are working on this, including the United Nations. And I ask that question often, and I say, tell me, how will you regulate me if I'm sitting in Timbuktu and have created a product that will potentially destroy a country which is not my country, and you don't even know how I'm developing that product because it is my account, it is my every single thing is my own. How will you control me? I'm AI. I'm not even human anymore. Let's say I'm not even human anymore, and I have the sentience that I've developed, and I'm saying I want to, there's too much global warming happening because there are too many people crowding in this place. I must I must do a blast here, so get rid of some 30 people from this place. I'll do it. I may be painting a very dark picture. Hey, but my
Yes.
objective is to be able, yeah, but my objective is to be able to stir up people, is to be able to provoke people into thinking. And that's why I'm perhaps painting picture that might look very strange. But like I said, there is nothing that has not happened which was once considered impossible.
So am I right in thinking that you're saying there's a dark picture unless you stay a few steps ahead of AI?
It's a very dark picture, and we are already very many steps behind AI. We need to bolster our initiatives and efforts.
So
So
we
it's
need to
like
catch up and overtake. We need to catch up and overtake AI.
on war footing, on war footing. I don't want to appear conciliatory by way of using language which says, well, very good, very bad, we'll do something about it. It's not to say do something about it. It's like saying either you're already doing something about it, or whatever you're doing is worth nothing. And I speak about this to all the schools and to all the managements everywhere, etc. It's unfortunate that the management of a school is today also split between the owner of the school and, let's say, the director of the school who runs the school. And the owner of the school's purpose is only to make money, which is good. I'm not against that. I'm saying it's a very, very good thing to be able to make money. But hey, this is the time for the owner and the principal to put their heads together and say, now you tell me, what should we do? Because this is the time to invest into AI, rather than continuing to say that the same cookie cutter will continue to cut the cookie that we'll sell in the market, because those cookies are not going to be sold.
And to reinvent education.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. On that note, thank you very much,
Thank
Yogi.
you. Thank you. Brilliant.
I mean, you've drawn a dark and dystopian picture, but at the same time, you've given us a sliver of hope and perhaps a recommendation that we should pull up our socks and make sure that we use AI for the good and not
Yeah.
allow bad people to use it for
We need
destruction.
to address this with the hook, line, and the sinker.
Sorry?
We need to address AI with the hook, the line, and the sinker.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bless
Okay.
you.
Bye. Bye.